Good evening, folks. So what we're going to talk about is the drug pandemic. In America right now, drug use is a full-blown pandemic. Drug overdose rate is frightening right now. Looking at some of the numbers, youth, 12 to 17 years old, you got 1.6% have tried opioids, 1.6% on prescription pain meds, 1.2% on prescription stimulants. LSD, more commonly known as acid, is a 0.9%, 0.3 on cocaine, 0.1 on prescription sedatives and methamphetamines, and there isn't any statistics showing right now for heroin. And all of this stuff is based on drugabusestatistics.org. You can look the stuff up yourself. So with adults 18 and up, you're looking at with marijuana 18.7%, 10.1%, and 12 to 17. Now, I was a part of that. Fortunate enough for me, I never really got into hard drugs, but I ended up being a bit of an alcoholic myself. But 12 to 17 years old, and you're looking at 10.1%. So basically, for every 100 12 to 17-year-old children out there, you've got at least 10 of them that are trying marijuana, which, you know, you've heard the cliche that it's a gateway drug. It can be. It depends on a person's mindset. If you've got an addictive personality, you can get to the point to where marijuana isn't cutting it for you and end up curious about trying other things. I've seen it happen all too many times. Again, some of these numbers might not seem high, but when you're looking at them, look at how many people are in this country versus the youth, the adults, and then combined. They start to seem a little bit higher. Drugs are not exclusive to just males or just females. Looking at the statistics on these, 22% and 17% of females have used illegal drugs or misused prescription drugs within the last year. So, granted, the number's a little bit higher with men, but I mean, think about that. That's almost a quarter of the men in this country in the last year have tried or abused these drugs. The statistics show that people who use drugs before the age of 13, which remember the 12 to 17 number, people that use it before the age of 13 have a 70% chance to have a substance abuse disorder. So basically, every 100 people from the age of 12 and under, or 13 and under, there's 70 out of 100 of those that are going to have a drug abuse problem on an average. So looking over here, even looking at the numbers from people from the age of 18 on up, there's a 27% chance. So once you've hit adulthood, if you've tried drugs for the first time, once you become an adult, 18 and up, there's still 27 out of 100 people that's going to develop a drug abuse problem on an average. It's pretty frightening considering all the stuff that's out there right now. I guess it kind of depends on what you try for your first time. So when you're looking at this, the numbers start to get kind of scary when you break down the situations. And also, said by the time people graduate high school, approximately 47% have either tried or used illegal drugs. So look back at the number, the 27% of 18 and up. But if you're below that, you're looking at closer to a 70% rate, and you've got 47% of them that's tried or used illegal drugs. One of the numbers that I find absolutely staggering is approximately 117,000 people at least try heroin for the first time each year. 117,000 people trying heroin on a yearly basis. It's kind of scary if you look at the death rate on some of these. But compare that to the overall population here. Again, it's not a crazy high number, but look at the population, it becomes high. So 170,000 people compared to overall population. And this is on a yearly basis. So it's one of those things where the top three are alcohol, marijuana, painkillers. So obviously, not too many people worry too much about about marijuana. People don't worry about alcohol. From a former alcoholic, it was killing me. If I wouldn't have quit drinking when I did, I probably wouldn't be sitting here in front of you right now. So when you're looking at these on, let's see, painkillers, marijuana, you got 2 million people. 2 million people that try these for the first time every year. You've got close to 5 million people who try alcohol for the first time on a yearly basis. And then, of course, when you look at marijuana, it's kind of right in the middle, about 3 million people every year. So with that being said, like the drug-related deaths is the biggest issue we have. Obviously, you don't want people using the drugs, but it's those situations where I don't come back from this, looking at the death tolls in the U.S., somewhere around 70,000 drug overdoses yearly in the U.S., with majority of accidental overdoses are in people under the age of 45. I'm 42 years old. Thankfully, I was delivered by God, from addiction. And again, I never really got too off into the hard drugs. It was alcohol, it was marijuana. Of course, cigarettes was a bad thing, and those kill you just as quick as anything, really. But think about that 70,000 drug overdoses in a year, and majority of them accidental, which I don't think anybody really truly just, hey, I'm going to overdose and die tonight. But the accidental is majority in people under 45. So each year, the rate tends to increase by approximately 4%. The statistics show that about 700,000 people died of drug overdoses between the year of 1999 and 2017. So this alone falls right around like the 39,000 mark if you break it down as an average. I understand it's increased a little over the years, but just say an average of 39,000 per year in that 18-year span. So you flash forward a few years, here we are, 2024, the average number basically is doubled to around 700,000 per year. 70,000 per year, with 700,000 over the course of 18 years. And here we are today, and we've got 70,000 per year. So, that's quite a bit of a jump right there. Again, it's a 4% increase over the course of each year. But again, you break down that 18-year average at 39,000, and then look at the fact that there's a 70,000 rate per year now. It gets really scary. It's watch out for your kids. Watch out who they're hanging out with. And it's a huge passion of mine. I actually just recently lost my best friend to an accidental overdose because he was using methamphetamine. And the meth that he had gotten a hold of had been cut with fentanyl. So the largest problem right now in deaths related to drugs is fentanyl. It's very dangerous, especially if you got homes with children present. It's something where you don't have to ingest fentanyl. Fentanyl is so potent, if it's even like close to being pure. A grown man or a grown woman can just handle it bare skinned, and a little bit of it gets in the pores of your skin, and that's enough to kill you. So you think about how bad it'd be for a child. No time at all, it could kill a child. A lot of people think that heroin's one of the biggest problems, which, statistically it is. But the biggest problem that we have is the fact that people are using fentanyl to cut the heroin so it's stronger. They can stretch it out more. More product, more money. There's approximately 13,000 fewer heroin-related deaths than there is from fentanyl. And I would tend to think that some of those heroin numbers may be inflated because it was something that was cut with fentanyl. So in closing, with this being all said, people need to be more aware of what's going on in people's lives around them. You need to step up, do something to help. We can't just let this problem continue to go on. You have to understand that there's a high probability that somebody, if you get them into rehab, they may stop doing drugs for that time being. But the main thing is you need to focus on not just helping them get into rehab to get clean, but you have to help the people stay out of rehab. It seems like a lot of people who go to rehab, when they get out, they're clean. They don't really have nobody. Especially if you know the people, if you've known them for some years, you've got a little bit of a common ground, and you should be at least somewhat trustworthy to these people. If you don't really know them too well and you just, you decided that you knew something was going on and you wanted to help out, find some common ground, ask them to go to church. Church is a huge help. Coming off of alcohol abuse, it was a huge thing that helped save my life. And quitting smoking marijuana, things like that. Staying in church helped keep me off of that and keep me away from those people. If you know they're struggling with addiction, don't be scared to speak up. Say something to them. It can be a touchy area. It's a conversation where, you got to come at it from the right angle, talk to the person in love with compassion and try to be understanding. And again, just, you can't let these people, I almost feel like telling people sometimes that if you know something and you don't do something about it, that person's blood is basically on your hands. These people are lonely and they're battling demons and depression and anxiety and feeling alone, feeling like they don't have anybody in this world, and it's our job, as humans, we were created with a natural instinct, but we've fallen away from our natural instincts of loving one another and trying to help one another, especially if you call yourself a Christian, if you're not willing to help somebody, struggling with drugs, don't call yourself a Christian. You can't be caring and compassionate and in the church and not in the streets. You've got to carry that over. Otherwise, you're not really truly a Christian. You're a pew warmer. So again, with that being said, folks, like I said, you've heard the saying, if you see something, say something. If you know somebody's struggling, try to do something about it. You never know. Just showing that you care to somebody could be what helps break them from that addiction and keep them off of it and start trying to walk a path that they need to be on, because they feel like somebody in their life around them cares. So everybody, I love all of y'all. Everybody be safe and be blessed.